Hello again, lovers of liberty and rationality. I'm Neil McGagnon, president of the Objectivist Party of New Jersey. Today I'm going to speak about the ecological and bureaucratic disaster that has happened 41 miles off the Louisiana coast. Yes, I'm talking about the Deepwater Horizon spill. According to news reports, as of June 15, 2010, there is an estimated 60,000 barrels of crude oil flowing out of the disaster zone per day, which is 5,000 feet underwater. The other day, British Petroleum, BP, the company which leased the rig from Transocean, agreed to pay for $20 billion in damages incurred during the spill. As a capitalist, all I can say of this government-pressured action on this business is fair. As a firm believer in individual responsibility, I can only say that BP should and must pay for the billions of dollars in damages done. This disaster was the result of its irrational actions and the irrational actions of BP employees who decided to ignore reality, blocking out the thought that they worked on a platform suspended over a mile of deep ocean that was funneling thousands of gallons of flammable liquid by the hour. Instead of looking at the emergency lights that were blinking, they were watching internet porn and shooting up mind-altering meth. Regarding the topic of responsibility, I now bring up the president. For once, both the left and right sides of the media are in agreement. Obama has not done enough to alleviate the situation in the Gulf. I, however, am in disagreement. The spill, unlike the catastrophes of economic stagnation, trillion-dollar yearly deficit, and overturning the nation's healthcare system, are not the fault of the president. Are the fault of the president. But the spill is not. The only thing Obama can be blamed for is fostering the false image of presidential omnipotence. The president and his party have constantly shouted for more controls and more power, and because of this, the American people rightfully should expect something from him. However, we must remember that Obama is a constitutional law professor. He has no background in petroleum engineering, rig operations, or oceanography. According to the Constitution, the current situation is not his job. His duty is to act as commander-in-chief of the executive branch of the government. Thus, he is the head bureaucrat of military operations, chief diplomat of international relations, but mostly he is the person in charge of executing and enforcing laws passed by Congress. The president has done nothing but yell at BP executives because that is all he can do. The fact that he has become the main overseer of the incident in the Gulf in the past weeks has actually made the problem worse. Before, President Obama could rightfully claim that it was BP's job to clean up the spill. Now that Obama and the government have become involved in overseeing the disaster, BP can claim in liability courts that in the latter weeks of the incident, the federal government was in charge, and thus they are not responsible for the damages incurred during that time frame. The thing that has worried me the most as a capitalist is the fact the government is going to get more involved in regulating the petroleum industry. The effects of this can be seen in Obama's recent order that no new ocean wells are to be drilled in the next 6 months, which led to the layoffs of thousands of workers in drilling companies other than BP. This is collectivism at its core. The mistake of one company is going to harm the responsible ones in the same industry. Responsible American companies like ExxonMobil. According to the June 2nd issue of the Business Insider, Exxon has been fined only once since 2007 by OSHA, the Occupational and Safety and Health Administration. BP has been fined 760 times by OSHA since 2007. In the next couple of weeks, I expect the Democratic Party to show its true nature. In 2008, they, and the Republicans, rushed to save the banks and automakers that were collapsing due to their own negligence. The small businesses along the Gulf should not expect anything, because the Democrats only help people that are victims of their own irresponsibility, laziness, and incompetence, not people that are the victims of other people's stupidity. If the people of the Gulf and the United States want justice, the solution is simple. Fine companies like BP billions of dollars for their gross negligence. The federal government has once again proven its uselessness and will only reward itself with more power, so it can stand around and complain about its lack of authority when there is another spill. As a great economist and defender of liberty, Milton Friedman once said, "Capitalism is an economic system of profit and losses, meaning people reap what they sow." BP has planted the seeds of its own suffering through its irrationality and idleness, and deserves to find itself in famine and fines. Thank you.